Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to show you guys on how you can read a tape measure, so stay tuned and let's enjoy the video. Basically there are different types of tape measure. We have tape measure that comes in 120 inches, and we also have those that come in 60 inches, and there's another tape measure which I don't have here. I read it online that it's a tape measure that comes only in centimeters. So guys, so if you are wondering, if you come across something like that, don't be surprised. It also comes only in centimeter. For this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to read a tape measure in inch, and this tape measure with me is in 60 inches. So it has a two sides, which the other side is in centimeters. Can you see guys? It's in centimeter. If you look through all these numbers, the centimeter for this tape measure reaches 150 cm. So for this tutorial, I'll be focusing on how you can read your tape measure in inches, and I will be doing some little calculation. Don't be scared. It's not algebra. It's not a wide calculation. It's just a little calculation for you to understand all these things, that are all these numbers and all the lines. Because if you notice guys, there are numbers which are written boldly on on the tape measure. How you can read the lines perfectly and how you can have a accurate measurement. So let's start. Now there are 8 columns in within an inch. That is, what I mean is that each line starts, each I don't know if you can see, each line here represent a value. That is, it represents a digit. It's not an ordinary line. It represents a digit. So now let's so for these lines, there are 8 in numbers, not 8 inches. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So we have 8 columns within an inch. Before you could get to another inch, that means you have to go through all these 8 columns before you could get to the other inches. So now for you to know the value of each column, because if you could notice guys, all these lines are not equal. Some are longer than the first line, is shorter, and the next line is longer than the first line. If you can see, there is another line which is longer, and we have the longest line. Each of these lines represent a digit. That means it represents a value. Now the calculation is very simple and straightforward. It only need a practice before you could understand very well. So I'm going to dive into the calculation guys, so let's stay tuned. So now for us to be able to get the first line, now you have to divide your first column by 8, which will give us is 0.2 is 0.125. Sorry guys, 0.125. So the first digit here at the first line here, the first column line here, I don't know if you can see, the first column here is 0.125. Now if you are going to get the second column, which is a bit longer than the first one, then you have to times that's number 2 times is 0.125, which will give us is 0.25. That's the value for the second line here. So the third line, that's number 3, will also be timed by 0.2 is 0.125. I'm very sorry. 0.125, which will give us is 0.375. So the next one is a little bit, can you see guys, this is the next one, which is longer than column 1, column 2, column 3. It is longer than that. That's our number 4. So that means 4 times is 0.125, which will give us is 0.5. Are you with me, guys? So the next one is after this long line, after this number 4 is 5. So you have to times it by is 0.125. So for our column 5 is 0.625. 0.625. So our column 6. So our column 6 is this, guys. Can you see? So our column 6 is here. So we say 6 times is 0.125, which will give us a 0.75. So for our 7th column, which is the next one after the 6th column, I don't know if you can see. I'm trying to let my camera pick it up. Okay. So for our column 7, this is shorter. So we say 7 times is 0.125, which will give us 0.8, which will give us 0.875. Then our last column is 8, this one. So we say 8 times is 0.125, which will give us 1 inch. So each line for the shorter line is 0.125. The next one is 0.25. Then the next one, which is the third one, which is shorter than the column 2, is a 0.375. Sorry guys, 0.375. Then the next one, our fourth column, which is this line longer than the 3 column, is 0.5. The fifth one is 0.625. The seventh one and the sixth one is a 0.75, and the seventh one is a 0.875. Then we have the last one, which is our eighth column, which is 0.8, which is 1 inches, guys. So now you might be wondering that after all this calculation, how will I be able to read my tape measure, all this line, all these numbers? You have to be able to master them, then you'll be able to apply it in your calculation. Now let's start again. So now let's assume that after all this now, so I'm going to illustrate what I've just calculated on our tape measures for you to be able to know what you should be expecting on your tape measure. So now I'll get away from 1 to 3, then I'll focus on using 11, 12 and 13, so that you'll be able to understand you'll be able to understand much better. So now let's use 11, let's use 11, 12 and 13. Now, so after this 11, then our first column after the big line, then it's a short line, which is 0.125. Then the next one is 0.25. Then the next one is 0.375. Then the next one is 0.5. Then the next one is 0.625. Then the next one is 0.75. Then we have the next one to be 0.875. Then we have our 12 inches. Now for this for this from 11 to 12 inches, so we have 11.125. Then the next one is 11.25. Then the next one is 11.375. Then the next one is 11.5. Then the next one is 11.625. Then the next one is 11.75. Then the next one is 11.875. Then we have our 12 inches, guys. Do you understand? So basically, if you have a measurement, or if you measure your client and you have something of 11.75, that means you'll be able to locate it on your tape measure. So it just takes a little bit time and more practice for you to be able to understand very well. So if you don't be confused when you measure your client and it ends up having something like 0.7525, don't be scared. So you just have to take your time and go through your tape measure to be able to understand very well. And also we have most time you have tailors that says, oh, okay, we have something like quarter of an inch, and we have something like half inch, and we also have something like 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to break this down for you guys. So I'm going to simplify the quarter of an inch, half inch, and 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to simplify it for you guys. So let me use 5 and 6 as an illustration for you guys to understand what I mean by quarter of an inch, half inch, then 3/4 of an inch. Now, I told you that within an inch we have 8 lines, and each lines have different numbers, which I have calculated for you guys. So now let me represent this first line. I don't know if you can see. Let me represent this first line here. First line by a point. Then after that point, the next line is our quarter of an inch, which is a little bit longer than the first one, which I said I represented with a point. So this one is our quarter of an inch. So after our quarter of an inch, we have another point. So after another point, we have a very long line that represents our half inch. Basically, that divides this line, this 8 columns, it divides it into 2. So that's our half inch. Then after that, we have our point. Then after that, we have a line also. This happens to be our 3/4 of an inch. Then we have our point, then we have our full inch. Let me come again, guys. This is our point. I said this line, the first line, should be represented by a point. Then after the point, we have a line, which I said is it. That line is our quarter of an inch. Quarter of an inch, which happens to be our 0.25. Then after that, we have a point also. And after the point, we have a line which divides this line within an inch, which divides it. It happens to be our half inch. Then we have a point after a half inch. Then we have another line, which happens to be our 3/4 of an inch, which for the real value is 0.75. That's our 6th column, is 0.75. Then we have a point, then we have a full inch. So let me bring I don't know if you can see very well. So if we are to read this on our measuring tape, we say we have 1/4 of an inch. I don't know if you can see, 5 1/4 of an inch.
Then we have 5.5 inch.
5 3/4 of an inch. So let me try and use another illustration. Let me use 16 and 7. We have 16 1/4 of an inch. Then we have 16 and half. We have 16 3/4 of an inch. So I'm trying to simplify the usage of 1/4 of an inch, half an inch, and 3.5 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch. Sorry, guys. So basically, this is how to read a tape measure. So if you find this video interesting, kindly give it a thumbs up, and if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, you can do so by clicking on the subscribe button, and also hit on the notification bell to get notified anytime I post new video. So if you find this video interesting or you have any suggestion, you can always leave your suggestion and your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts, guys, in the comment section below, and let me know which video you want me to do after this, and let me know whatever it is you want me to know. Let me know in the comment section down below. So I hope to see you in my next video, that I promise that it will be more interesting. And if you are a returning subscriber, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. Thank you very much. And if you are a new subscriber, thank you. And also, you are welcome to this channel. We are welcoming you to this small family of ours. So thank you very much for joining the family. And if you are yet to subscribe, kindly do so by clicking on the subscribe button, and also hit on the notification bell to get notified every time I post new video. Post twice in a week. So guys, till next time, see you. Bye.